The story of a dog that survived for weeks in freezing temperatures.
We were seeing 50 to 60 degrees below zero with the wind chill.
How soon could a massive earthquake strike California?
Preparation is always going to be the key.
And do you want to buy a waterfall? Just name your price.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. This will be another day of bitter cold and wind chills in the Northeast, but change is on the way and it's already happening in the plains. Many of us woke up in the East, woke up to single-digit temperatures and sub-zero wind chills. That cold weather trend will continue for one more day and for the Mid-Atlantic and New England. But after more than 2 weeks, the cold will be replaced by more seasonable temperatures. Today, the southern plains are seeing 70s and 80s. Even Minnesota and Wisconsin are above freezing. By tomorrow, that trend moves into the Northeast. It will help melt the ice that's been on the ground for weeks now. It's especially important in parts of Vermont, where Charlotte Hancock says there is a serious salt shortage.
A salt shortage is impacting more than a dozen towns in the Green Mountain State, but winter weather shows no signs of stopping. Snowplowing companies say they are working to keep the roads safe, but without the tools they need, challenges keep cropping up.
We have a limited quantity left, and we're saving it for only emergencies.
Jay says he's now forced to mix in sand to make the supply last. Now the state is stepping in. VTrans recently announced temporary relief for salt contractors to pause deliveries to state stockpiles, allowing them to focus on supplying towns and local customers first. In the meantime, officials are urging extra caution on the roads.
Slow down, drive below the speed limit, drive within your capabilities.
And last week, sub-freezing temperatures in Florida increased the region's wildfire risk. Several counties have now enacted burn bans, concerned that even a small spark could ignite a large wildfire. El Pelfrey has details.
The cold, bone-chilling weather may be past us, but it left something in its wake. Lots of brown, dead vegetation that experts say is the perfect fuel for wildfires.
When we look at this is what's called frost kill. When you see this stuff, and when you see it, it's super dry. It's just waiting to burn. It's just there, ready to go.
David Grubich has spent more than a decade with the Florida Forest Service dealing with wildfires like this. In the first week of February, he says there's plenty of reason to be worried up and down the Treasure Coast.
This is probably the most serious I've seen it in my 12-year career with the Florida Forest Service. If a fire does occur today, it's going to get big and get big quick and really take a lot of resources to get it back under control.
This sign outside the Florida Forest Service office near Fort Pierce tells the story. It reads, "Fire danger high." It would only take a spark to ignite a massive, fast-moving fire.
It's bad. It's real bad. It's dry. It's killed everything up and down this road.
I met Steve Shiver, who lives nearby and was walking his dog Grundy. With dry, heavily wooded areas nearby, he knows the fire threat is real.
This is the worst I've seen it as far as drought.
Nearby counties like Glades and Highlands are both facing a water shortage warning. Fire officials are urging people to be smart and vigilant.
We've gone a long time without rain in Florida, so it is extremely dry, and we just ask people to use common sense.
And hot and dry conditions sparked multiple wildfires across Texas over the weekend. The Forest Service says the increased wildfire activity is because of ongoing dry conditions and warmer winter weather. Vincent Martirano has more.
People do still need to be aware during those times.
Flames sparking out of nowhere from the hill country to Austin, forcing crews to put out multiple brush fires.
We had some short-term drying alongside with warm and dry conditions that did support an overall increase in wildfire activity across the state.
One of them ignited near the Gillespie-Blanco County line. Blanco County Emergency Management says that brush fire expanded to around 70 to 80 acres. Nobody was injured and no structures were damaged. Since we last heard around 6 o'clock, that fire was 80% contained.
Whenever we see those higher percentages, such as 80 to 100% containment, this doesn't mean that necessarily that the smoke is, or that the fire is out. We can still see some smoke as well as some pockets interior of the perimeter burning.
Another fire started in Johnson City that burned 1.5 acres. Burnett County ESD 9 officials say it started as a structure fire, then spread. Then a third fire happened in Mustang Ridge. Both of those fires are contained. The Texas A&M Forest Service says it's important for people in the area to stay alert in these hot and dry conditions.
Please be following local burn bans and fire restrictions. And even when we're not in a burn ban, please be safe.
Well, dry weather is also impacting Washington State. Snowpack in mountains around Seattle is well below normal, but there could be some moisture on the way. Theron Zahn has more.
While we've been experiencing a streak of spring-like days with mild temperatures and sunshine, we should have been piling up snow in the mountains for water use later in the year. Take a look at the current snowpack map from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. It shows some pretty stark numbers. The central Puget Sound area is only at 35% of the snowpack we should have heading into February. South Puget Sound only has 33% of normal snowpack, and the snow-starved Olympics only have 34% of normal. There is some hope in sight for a boost in lowland rain and mountain snow. The newest 8 to 14-day forecast from the Climate Prediction Center at the National Weather Service shows a 40 to 50% chance of above normal precipitation. And when it comes to temperatures, government forecasters are calling for a 33 to 40% chance of below normal temps. The snowpack in our state typically peaks on April 1st. Wetter and cooler weather will hopefully help our snowpack make up for lost time as spring rapidly approaches.
Well, the Winter Olympics continue in Milan and Cortina, Italy. There are a few more outdoor events scheduled for today. The weather in Milan is pretty nice with partly cloudy skies and a high of 55. It will be a little bit colder tomorrow with a high of 49 in Milan, and there could be some snow in the mountains for all the ski events. Now to Oregon, where a beloved waterfall and dozens of acres of forest land around it are for sale. Christina Giardinelli shows us the 92-foot tall marvel of nature and why it's on the market.
A waterfall for sale is not something you see often in Oregon. The fall's sale to the best bidder could mean privatization. It's a concerning prospect for some like Nancy Smith.
I think it's really important for people to be able to access places like this.
James Parker has been visiting the falls for years.
Yes, I'm a professional photographer, and this is one of my favorite places to come to photograph.
Getting to the falls is no easy feat. The drive to the trailhead alone is not for the faint of heart. Let's go find out what all the fuss is about. After you've navigated the rough roads into miles of wilderness, it's still a bit of a technical hike to get in. You know, nothing says Oregon like a trail with a rope. The hike to the stream is about 3/4 of a mile. Once there, K2 photojournalist Rick Peebyhouse and I managed to miss the somewhat hidden upstream trail. Thinking we were on the wrong trail, we turned back, but hikers back at the trailhead redirected us. This is the path that we missed the first time around. What should have been a round trip, 2-mile, somewhat strenuous hike turned into closer to 4 miles, but it was worth it. Man, I've been to a lot of countries and seen a lot of pretty things. This has got to be top 5. Could stare at this for hours. Smith and Parker agree.
I hope it would be the right person that would buy it, that would still allow people to access it.
I can only say I just hope that they make it available, just like this owner.
A spokesperson for the Abbey Foundation tells me they want to find the right buyer that would preserve the land, but preservation and public access is not a condition of the sale. Travis Williams, president and CEO of the Willamette River Preservation Trust, says he was in talks with the Abbey.
And we had kept in touch throughout the year, really seeking that opportunity to sit down with them and their board and their finance committee to figure out what would it really take to acquire the falls and to steward them in perpetuity.
Talks stopped just before the Abbey put the place up for public auction.
And here's something you don't see every day. A satellite picked up a giant crack forming across the ice covering Lake Erie on Sunday. It appears to be about 90 miles long from Ontario, Canada to the Ohio shoreline. Weather conditions could make the crack grow even bigger. Ice covers more than 95% of Lake Erie this morning. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, it was a windy weekend for portions of the Mid-Atlantic. We'll show you just how powerful wind can be. And California is known for earthquakes. We'll hear from an expert about when and where the next big one may actually strike.
This is
is meteorologist Hannah Sheehy with a look at the Northeast. It's a bitter cold day, especially in the morning. If you're out going to work, you definitely want to make sure you bundle up. Some clouds will start to increase across the New York and Pennsylvania area. Well, we have lots of sunshine through New Hampshire and Maine. Other than that, we do have some snow on the way for Wednesday, but your highs today will climb in the 20s for some of us and even into the low 30s as you look at New York and Atlantic City, around 21 in Buffalo and around 26 in Portland.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Jabali. Here's a look at the mid-Atlantic region. Staying dry the next couple of days, and thankfully that cold Arctic air mass is going to start to push out. We'll still see some high pressure lingering a bit, but our temperatures will not be as frigid. Other than some clouds moving over the mountains and a brief, very fast-moving front late Tuesday into early Wednesday, it looks like we're just going to be watching our temperatures recover. All right, so we're going to be in the 20s to start, but we'll likely get to the upper 30s. Could even see 50s reaching farther parts of northern Maryland, and that'll be the case on Wednesday as well.
Hi, meteorologist Jennifer Collins with a look at your southeast forecast. A chilly afternoon is in store for parts of the Carolinas with temperatures in the 40s and 50s. More mild conditions for the rest of the southeast as high pressure remains in control. We climb into the low 70s along the northern Gulf Coast and into the mid 70s through most central and South Florida. Low rain chance will continue for most of the southeast, only a passing shower or two along the Gulf Coast. Expect a mostly sunny sky for most of central and South Florida through Tuesday with a chance for showers along the Mississippi River Valley.
The National Weather Desk celebrates 250 years of amazing America.
This weekend, areas around Washington, D.C. saw heavy winds, but just how powerful can wind get? Let's turn to meteorologist Violet Skyboard to find out.
Well, we have a fancy little equation that you plug in the weight and the area of an object to determine the wind speed needed to move it. Looking at some examples, we've got a leaf, a trash can, a person, and a car. Plugging in each of those numbers, it takes 3 miles per hour to move a leaf, 28 miles per hour to move a trash can, 67 miles per hour to move an average person, and 90 miles per hour to move an average car. Now, what type of damage can this do to your house when we have a strong weather system rolling through? We use a scale called the Beaufort Wind Scale, which ranges from 0 to 12, but we usually start to see damage at level 8. Twigs and small branches are broken off of trees, shingles blown off roofs at level 9, trees broken and structural damage to your home at level 10, and widespread damage at level 11. Level 12, 73 miles per hour or greater, that's when we see violence and destruction. So wind events can do a lot of damage.
Well, here's a story about a very cold dog that will warm your heart. The lost pooch survived 20 days in very cold Fargo, North Dakota, but was rescued thanks to some careful surveillance, local businesses, and maybe a group of caring rabbits. Kevin Wallenvond has the story.
Hello. Here he is, the survivor. Peanut escaped his Fargo yard on January 8th. And for the next 20 days,
we were just not hopeful that he was going to survive those conditions. And then to see him on camera in the midst of all that storm going on was just, I mean, I can't even explain the feelings.
The little Chihuahua Pomeranian was running solo.
The wind chills never hit above 0.
The last weekend before we found him, we were seeing 50 to 60 degrees below 0 with the wind chill.
Missing signs with a photo of a Peanut were everywhere around town.
I think in those 8 days that we had no sightings, I had become pretty discouraged. I was not hopeful that we were going to find him.
The Minnesota-based nonprofit, The Retrievers, relying on tips from local businesses in an industrial area in Fargo, put out traps for several days.
You know, we tell people dogs are so resilient. They can survive anything. I mean, he's proof of it.
And finally, 20 days after disappearing, Peanut got trapped.
So happy to have you home. You got new friends. Everybody was worried about you.
Area businesses like Gabriel Metal Casting helped look for Peanut, and they swear that he had a little help from his friends, furry friends.
There was 20 bunnies out in the lot where he was running when we were getting him, and he was warm. He found warmth. There was always a bunny next to him whenever we would see him.
And you would think being out for 20 days in sub-zero temperatures would have a drastic impact on Peanut. But he's the wonder dog.
They said, I mean, other than being thin, no frostbite, heart was good, lungs were good.
A happy ending for all who care about Peanut.
Are you smiling? You're happy with all your friends?
Oh, look at that face. Well, they may not be pets, but they are liked just as much. Bald eagles were once on the verge of extinction, but made a comeback and are no longer considered endangered. That means great opportunities for photos. Meteorologist Teresa Carter shares some viewer images and fun facts about these majestic birds.
Bald eagles are not actually bald. Their heads are covered in white feathers. The name comes from an older meaning of the word white-headed. Their wingspan is around 6 to 7.5 feet and are close to 3 feet tall. Bald eagles can see with clarity up to 2 miles away, making them exceptional hunters from great distances. Bald eagles can fly about 40 miles per hour and soar to an altitude of 10,000 feet. They can reach speeds between 75 to 99 miles per hour when diving to catch the prey. Bald eagles can live for about 20 to 30 years in the wild and even longer in captivity. Even though bald eagles were delisted from the Endangered Species Act in August 2007 because their populations recovered sufficiently, bald eagles are still protected under the Migratory Bird Treaty Act and the Bald and Golden Eagle Protection Act. Both laws prohibit killing, selling, or otherwise harming eagles, their nests, or eggs.
Well, this past month, there has been a swarm of small earthquakes in California. All were small, but still able to knock items off store shelves and shake homes, but no real damage. So when and what part of the state will the next big quake actually happen? Kim Stevens spoke with a geologist to find out.
The key is our distance. We are just pretty far from active faults.
The San Joaquin Valley is a pretty safe place to be when faults around us start to move.
Yes, I've heard the story. We're safe in Fresno.
Well, in a comparative sense, we are. And the reason is that we benefit from being pretty far away from faults that produce damaging earthquakes.
But we can still feel the movement. We sure did feel the July 4th Ridgecrest earthquake in 2019. It was a 7.1.
We are not at the same hazard level as being in Southern California or being in the San Francisco Bay Area or living on the Central Coast.
And we're not at the level in science where quakes can be predicted more than a few seconds out. It's history that scientists look at to get a best guess scenario of our future. A recent finding is showing the San Andreas Fault ruptured around the same time as the Cascadia Fault up near Seattle, Washington. How recent? The year 1700. In earthquake terms, that is considered recent. A marine geologist at Oregon State University says if these two faults are seismically linked or synchronized, a quake on one could trigger a quake on the other, and that could be a big one.
Would we feel something if there was a magnitude 7.8 on the central San Andreas? Yes, we would, but it's not going to be as bad as if you're living close to it.
Take a look at this image from the Pacific Northwest seismic effort. It shows when the Pacific Plate and the Juan de Fuca Plate moved, They created the Cascadia subduction zone, where the plate moved under North America here. The largest earthquakes on Earth are in subduction zones, just like this. Now, Professor Chris Goldfinger's study theorizes that if both faults moved around the same time, that would stretch recovery and rescue teams between San Francisco, just south of Mendocino, all the way up through Portland, up into Seattle and Vancouver, an emergency unlike any other. So instead of worrying about when or where the next one could hit, scientists say
Preparation is always going to be the key.
Well, time now for a short break, but first let's stay in California and take in views above LA.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Sarah Converse. The Arctic air trying to pull away from the region as we're going to get some relief and thawing things out across the Midwest. 33, the high for Columbus, Springfield, Illinois, 47, and then Lincoln, you're looking at some 70s, 71 for you. Tonight, temperatures across the region will be in the upper 20s, low 30s, some 40s though in Kansas City and Wichita.
Good Monday morning, everybody. I'm meteorologist Stella Sun. Showery conditions will continue across the Pacific Northwest. Meanwhile, winter weather advisories are posted up for parts of the Idaho Panhandle as well as parts of western Montana. Mainly dry conditions expected through parts of the Four Corners as well as in Albuquerque and in Phoenix. Daytime highs hovering right around the 40s through Spokane, and in Missoula, we've got 70s on tap for Denver and 73 degrees in Las Vegas. Highs in the middle 80s for Phoenix.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Well, have you ever heard of ice james? Meteorologist Eric Estreva explains how they form.
Hey there, everyone. I'm Chief Meteorologist Eric Estreva with Mid-Michigan Now. Over the next several days to even next couple of weeks, we'll be talking about more ice jams because of the warmer temperatures after this very long cold stretch that we've been going through. Not only here in the state of Michigan, but many states that have seen ice building up on the area of rivers and streams. Now, the one ingredient that we need is the warmer weather, as that's going to dislodge some of that ice, create more of those blocks of ice instead of sheets of ice. Now, as that ice moves downstream in the rivers and streams, it can become lodged in some tighter, more curved areas that are not as big as the more substantial areas in the river. Now, that blockage will reduce the flow of the river, resulting in some flooding right around the blockage and also a little bit further away from that blockage. There will also be less water going downstream as a result as well.
And we'd love to share your weather content on the air. You can find us on all your favorite social media platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Just search the National Weather Desk. We'll be right back. And thank you so much for joining us. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great day, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow.